Alright, so to start back over here on this guy, and let's go the other way. So what if we came across and they gave us the actual equation in center radius form and wanted us to find the center and the radius? So now working our way backwards, remember our formula is x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared is equal to our radius squared. And so from this now we should be able to pull this out. Now what this will also help you understand is that, obviously in this case right here, not obviously, in this case right here, we're just going to pull our h value straight out. So when we think about our center of our circle, our center is going to be at positive 4. So it's not negative 4, because the negative sign is that minus sign that comes in the equation. Whereas this guy right here is actually y minus negative 1 quantity squared, because we have to convert it back to be in subtraction. Well, subtracting a negative makes a positive, and so that means that our h value is actually going to be positive 1. Our radius, I think most of us can see it here pretty straightforward, but if you need to, you can always say r squared equals 9, and then you can use the square root method, and you can square root both sides, and then you can see that r would be equal to 3. So so now we got our radius and our center. But obviously, most of the time you're going to be able to tell, and as you play around with it. So to graph this, I'm going to hit pause for just a minute. We'll take a look at how something like this would work inside of MyMathLab. Alright, so just to review the process here, we would plot our center. So from the origin, we'd go over 4, down negative 1. That would be our center. And if we were doing this by hand, we would need to come out from that center the radius. So we'd come out 1, 2, 3. We could go up 3, 1, 2, 3. We could go to the left 3, or we could go down 3. And then at that point, that would give us that overall dimension of our circle, or the properties of our circle. Now, when we take a look at this inside of MyMathLab, we see a problem like this, and so we'd start off and we'd say, okay, well, that means that it looks like, our center for this guy would be at negative 3, 3, and our radius would be equal to 4. So we would click on enlarge, and we would make this guy here bigger, slide him over so it's out of the way. We would choose the appropriate tool, which is a circle, and then we get specific directions just like in 2.1. Click the graph to plot the center of your circle. So we go to negative 3, positive 3, we plot it. And then at this point, you can see how I was talking about on the previous one, where you go out a certain radius, or you could go up a certain radius, or to the left a certain radius, or down a certain radius. But if you go diagonally, it'll go out there, but that's not going to be whole units. We actually need the whole unit. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We got that guy. We save it, and we can check ourselves to see how we did. All right. So inside of MyMathLab, that's how we'll actually graph it. So you actually find your center and your radius, and then you'll plot it. And then there are also other problems in here, obviously, so sometimes, let's see, sometimes I'm going to still give you the center and the radius to actually find the equation, or I think there's a couple where it's hanging up. There we go. And okay, like this one right here, they want you to take the center and radius, give them the equation, then graph it second. So some variation, you will be graphing though, is the point. Alright, let's go back to the presentation just real quick. And no. Alright, so obviously this guy will be the same way. We've done 2 of them together now, but just so we can wrap this guy up, my center will be at 2, negative 4. My radius is equal to 4. And so I would plot my center. I go out my 1, 2, 3, 4, up my 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I can connect those dots just like we did inside of MyMathLab, but you'll use your tool in that case. So play around with that and see if you have any questions.